Okay. All right. I think both are going on. Excellent. So here we go. All right. Welcome everybody to the webinar today, Daily Detox. So I want to be clear with everyone what this is all about. It's going to be a different approach to detox than you've probably ever heard of. And I'm really excited to share all this information. So what this is about, it's about adding in the good and all the things that you can do to detox. So it's the opposite of restriction and not having the things that you want to have to make yourself feel good. This is all about adding in the things to yourself to feel good. So I'm so happy that you are all here today for me to do that. So if anyone is expecting something about restricting and holding back, I want to be totally upfront with you about it so that you don't feel like you were misled in any way. So this is a different approach and I hope that you're excited. There's a lot to go over. So this should technically be 3 different webinars, but it's jammed packed. So there's a good chance I'm gonna fly through some of these slides here, but it's all in here. The recording is going to be sent out. I'll email it to everyone who's registered. So anyone out there on social media, you can sign up still for this webinar on my link in bio and Instagram. But regardless, this is recorded and everyone will be able to see the PowerPoints on YouTube and I'll have it posted on my social media. So you'll always be able to pause and go back, but if you do want to grab some notes, feel free. And this is going to be a little bit different approach to detox. So I'm excited. So anyone new here, I'm Dr. Dawn Siglain. I just go by Dr. Dawn because it's way easier to say. I'm a doctor of naturopathic medicine, board certified and licensed from the University of Bridgeport in the state of Connecticut. New York is unfortunately, well, at the moment, a pre-licensed state. So we are fighting for our licensure, but I can still do what I do and the medicine that I love in the state of New York. So I'm so happy to be here. I'm with Inner Source Health based in Huntington, but we also have a apartment. I used to live in the city. We have an office space 1 block away from Penn Station too. I also am an acupuncturist with my New York State license, history as a personal trainer, and I started on this journey as a health coach. So I want to get a set for the mindset for detox. Why do we have to do this? And why do we have to do this every day? So ask yourself these questions. I'm going to answer them for you. It's because there's so many toxins everywhere, but we shouldn't be paralyzed for it. And this shouldn't make us feel like that there's nothing that we can do. I'm all about empowerment. If anyone's a patient of mine, I work with daily affirmations. I'm all about finding answers. If there's any kind of roadblocks, let's find the way over those roadblocks for optimal health, because there is a way, and doing daily detox is one of the ways that's going to get you there. So this is a really important topic. And who needs to do this? Everyone can do this. And this daily detox, it's gentle and effective. So it's for just pretty much everyone, and you can pick and choose what you want. So there, in this PowerPoint, what I'm going to talk about today, there's something for everyone in here. Can you start right away? Today, 100%. How often? Daily. Okay, how often the daily detox? It is daily. It's right there in the name of this PowerPoint. So benefits of detoxing daily: increased energy, sleep gets improved. So there's a difference between sleeping through the night and sleeping through the night, right? When you wake up feeling rested, I know you've had a good night's sleep and that you've gotten into that deep sleep. I'm going to talk about that. A balanced immune system, right? What's the right immune support for you, for your immune system to benefit you? It's different for each person. Clarity of thought, so you can think clear, and optimal organ functioning. I'm going to be talking about the kidneys, the liver, which we always are talking about, and the skin, our largest organ. It helps us to detox, ways that we can support that. Clear skin, right? So you can't just say, oh, I magically want my skin to feel better. It's from the inside out. So daily detox is the answer. Bright and sparkly eyes, right? In Chinese medicine, it's that qi. You know when someone's got that good qi? Okay, I'm not talking, I didn't say cheese. I said qi, Q-I, right? Chinese medicine, that good qi, right? Someone's feeling good. You see it in their eyes. The eyes are the gateway to the soul, right? So when you feel good, when you're doing these daily detox, you're going to have those bright, those sparkly eyes, right? You're going to have that little ding, 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 ding. shiny hair, fresh breath, and then your weight gets managed, right? Whether you're looking for weight loss or weight gain, it balances itself out. You don't have to worry about all these things. These things are happening with the daily detox. But we have to get into this mindset, right? So get ready to incorporate change into your life. There's no magic pill, right? That's not how naturopathic medicine works. As a naturopathic doctor, that's not what it's about, okay? When I see my patients, I want them to be ready for a change. And this is everything I'm going to talk about here today. And you have to want it. Want leads to choice, which leads to commitment, which leads to the healthy changes that's going to benefit your life and your wellness and everything that you may have stepped into my office or stepped into my virtual office, which we're doing now, you know, having all these, we call them chief complaints with what's bothering you. And it balances out. When you do these daily detoxes, it helps. But that when you have to lead to a decision and sacrifice, that other way of detoxing, when you're restricting and having these thought patterns that you can't have this or you can't do this, and feeling like you should do these things you have to want it for that choice, for that commitment. It makes a difference. So really, you know, thinking about that, getting to where you want to be. So this is what we're going to talk about. Optimal health, balance. We need all of them: mind, body, and spirit. This is why I was kind of saying this is actually 3 different lectures all in one, but it's all going to be in here. If I have to do 3 different lectures after this, just to really give each of them the attention they need, I'm all for it because I love talking about this stuff. So let's start with the minds. I'm going to talk about the glymphatic system. Okay, really interesting. Deep breathing, meditation, mental purging, rearranging space, social media habits, learning something, and self-talk. So all really interesting stuff here. Okay, the glymphatic system. Has anyone ever heard about this? It's not the lymphatic system. I know I didn't misspell it. It's actually called the glymphatic system. It starts with a G. And it's our natural way that our brain detoxes, but it's only during a restful night's sleep. That's why that question is so important. Do you feel rested when you wake up in the morning? And how many days a week do you feel rested? It's key to health and how your brain is detoxing and how the system is working. So it's this contraction and relaxation of the extracellular space. There's waste clearance in the central nervous system that happens during this. And there's an influx of what we call cerebral spinal fluid. And then there's a removal of the interstitial fluid. This glymphatic system gets enacted during a deep night's sleep. Okay. And this is how our brain detoxes, how you feel good and refreshed in the morning. This is why you don't feel good after a good night's sleep. It's very important. These are all the things that I'm asking my patients. How are you sleeping? How's your energy? And how's your digestion? How are your bowel movements? All these things are really important. All the basic things that a body needs to do to function. How is it working for you is a sign of health. Deep breathing, all the benefits. It calms down your nervous system, right? Your sympathetic nervous system. So there's 2 parts of our autonomic nervous system. There's a sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. We want to be in that relaxed mode, that rest and digest mode of the parasympathetic nervous system most of the time. I talk about this a lot and it's important. That's why I keep talking about it. And this deep breathing does it. This is going to help the detox because the more you're relaxed, the more that you can flow with things, okay? When you're stressed out, you literally you put the sympathetic nervous system into effect and you're actually just holding on. Is where you get that adipose, that extra tissue where you don't feel so comfortable in your middle section, that stress, that's your sympathetic nervous system and constantly firing off. You can't lose weight. And where do the toxins sit? Are in our fat tissue, in the adipose tissues. So you don't want extra tissue lying there to hold on to the toxins. You want to be relaxed. You want to be in that parasympathetic nervous mode most of the time. This deep breathing decreases blood pressure. It prevents the reactive and explosive situations that you get into with loved ones. You calm down, you take a moment to reflect, and it really helps your relaxation. So there's tons of deep breathing techniques. I'm not going to get into all of them just for the sake of time, but belly breathing is really important. So these 2 guys in the middle doing something called 4 square breathing, counting sometimes helps people stay in the present moment and focus on their breathing, and something called belly breathing. So breathing into your belly. If anyone's interested, I did a lecture just yesterday. Every Wednesday, I'm doing these meditations and I talk about it a lot. So very important that you're breathing into your belly, not doing something called shallow breathing. So it's a difference. Belly breathing is really good for your nervous system. Meditation. So think of the brain as your most important muscle in your body, right? The brain detoxes during a good night's sleep. Are you guys making these connections? It's huge. Muscle memory for your brain. So this meditation, the more you do it, the more your brain remembers to get into these meditative states. It helps your clarity of thought and it calms the monkey mind. So there's all these health benefits of meditation. I know that you guys have heard about it, and I've got them all listed here. So I'll let you guys go back to it, but it benefits you in such wonderful ways. Just try it for a minute or try it for a few minutes. And here's a bunch of tips that I have for you. Anyone can do it anytime, and read all these. You can set an intention. You can do the deep breathing. Give it a chance, guys. It really does help. The mental purging. So this is huge, right? But this is getting rid of the bad stuff but you know, don't forget to add in all the good stuff. I'm going to be talking about this. So mind-body connection is huge. Talking about daily detox, supporting the mind and what we're thinking about is a huge factor. We can be in the way of our own health. We can be our worst enemies, standing in the way of health, but the things that we're thinking about stop us from feeling better, right? And I know that there are people out there going through this, and I know that this is very common. So mental purging, one way to do it, or a few ways to do it, have a pad next to you. A lot of times people are ruminating. Their thoughts come up when they're lying down, ready to go to bed, right? So you write them out, but you don't want to be on your phone before bed. Okay, I'm going to talk about bedtime hygiene, but you write it on a pad, and just by writing it gets it out of your head through the fingers onto the pad. You can think about it later or say it out loud. Just saying it gets it out of your head thinking and out into the universe. Making lists help to increase dopamine, and then you cross off those lists, a little mood booster, right? So try and give that a chance if that's what's holding you back, right? So all the things I'm talking about might not apply to you, but the ones that do, give it a try. I encourage you, pick one thing from mind, one thing from body, one thing from spirit, and see how it resonates and see what happens. And then the next week you could pick another few ones if you want. Rearranging your space, so physically moving things, so switching up your living or your workspace, right, which a lot of us have been doing in this time of setting up virtual offices. We've naturally been doing these things. How has that resonated with you? How has that been feeling? Items that, you know, you could be seeing daily could be these little triggers. So just moving them around, moving them out of your space, you might feel better. And I always say move it to lose it. Also, like, you know, move your body or move something before you lose your mind. Okay. And then social media. So add in the good. So instead of just unfollowing what you don't like, being like, oh, I don't like this person, I don't like that person, just start following what brings you joy. You know, it's a way of just helping and having a bunch of positive things in your social media feed really does affect your mental space and what you're thinking about. Learning something new. So we call about this more wrinkles in the brain, to weed out the bad and add in the good. So reading an actual book that's not on the computer, not on a device, can be really beneficial for you. And now's a perfect time to do it when we have extra time, even just 20 pages a day. You know, try and jump into something that you've always wanted to have some interest in and learn about. And try using your non-dominant hand. So if you're a righty, use your left hand. Lefty, use a righty, doing things to increase creativity in your brain. So just try it. Maybe just having your cup of coffee with your non-dominant hand, it changes how everything's firing off in the brain. It's pretty cool. So self-talk, I've been doing a series in this salt cave by me for over 1.5 years now. And it's been a wonderful series, all based in self-talk. And there's so much to talk about. This is why I've been talking about it there for over 1.5 years, because we have so many thoughts a day, over 70,000 thoughts, nearly a new thought a second. It's constantly happening, guys. Our brain's constantly working. We've got to support the brain. This is why this is the first thing that I'm talking about, because it affects our choices. It's this constant chatter, and it's automatic, it's subtle, and sometimes there are even these images. And awareness of these thoughts are key, and the reason is why, because the thoughts come before the feelings. So if you're holding yourself back from getting to the next level of your health or doing something or finding motivation, what are you thinking that could possibly be holding your back? So understanding these thoughts, you can understand your feelings, and that's where meditation also. So it's all related. So positive self-talk, but you can't just start pooing out rainbows, right? That's not the way it works. So try to keep it positive, but it takes time because you have to understand the negative self-talk first, right? I had an experience where I was always saying, I'm not good enough. I don't know why I would say that, but it came from a place deep inside of me where I didn't think I was good enough. And I was saying these things in my head. It was actually coming out of my mouth. I had loved ones tell me that that would be a phrase I would say. Once I knew I was saying that, I caught myself. And I would always, whenever I'd meditate and think about it, I would say, I am good enough. Just saying that felt good. And it turned that around. Takes health and everything to the next level. So if you have self-talk, if you're unsure what it is, ask a loved one. If you know what it is, or listen to yourself when you're talking to friends. Are you putting yourself down? Are you saying something like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did that. What a dumb thing to do. Stop yourself and say, oh, I wouldn't say that to my best friend. Why would I say that to myself? So ask yourself questions, try and get in touch with this. This is not an easy topic to try and turn around. That's why I talk about this all the time in the Soul Cave. This is something to work on. This is part of health and wellness. If this is where it's a roadblock for you, and make the effort to try to turn it around, to stop the negative self-talk, and then to replace it with something positive. Now, the second portion. Daily detox for the body. So I'm going to talk about all these topics here, shifting the body for focus, the proper amount of water for you. We are mostly made of water. This is a very important portion. Organ support to clear toxins, keeping the body moving, nutrition to support detoxification. And then I'm going to talk about 3 techniques to promote this movement and proper excretion from the body. I'm going to talk about dry brushing, coconut oil pulling, and something called Castor Oil Packs. So making the shift. So you can literally, if you have a negative thought, just shift your body, okay? You could start looking here, maybe look out a window and shift the body when you have a negative thought. It can help it to go away. Physically moving can help to do this. It refocuses you. Water. We got to talk about plastic water bottle, folks. Don't drink plastic water bottles. You're drinking plastic water. It's not water. It's plastic water. And it's terrible for you. Plastic's an endocrine disruptor. It's a toxin. You have to drink quality filtered water. Okay. I have a Berkey at home. Some people get home filtration systems, and then you have, the water quality coming from your shower and all that makes a huge difference. People with like eczema and psoriasis, suddenly they don't have these skin issues. They have good quality water, and it changes everything. Water is key. Maybe add some lemon to the water. If you're constipated, drink some warm water with lemon to wake up. So why warm? Do I always talk about this? Warmth helps to expand the arteries, the veins, and the lymphatic system that starts with an L. So I know you guys are all like, this doctor doesn't know what she's saying. She's saying glymphatic, lymphatic. They're 2 different systems. So this warmth opens up the lymphatic system, but it's all connected, right? All these systems are connected. The lymph holds these toxins in it, and it also affects our immunity, and our immune cells are all in it. So you want it warm, you want it open, you want to be able to flush it out. Warm drinks, warm teas do that. Drink half your body weight of quality water in ounces every day of the filtered water, okay? Make sure you're getting enough. And there's things I think about. Do you have headaches? Are you constipated? Are you drinking enough water? That's the next question, okay? So it needs a major player, really helps the respiratory health, if anyone's been listening to my lung health lectures. So it's really important. The lungs are mostly water too, right? Very important now. So how do we clear toxins? Pooing, peeing, sweating, right? Basic. Organs, we're going to support the liver. I'm going to talk about that. The large intestine by having a good bowel movement, the kidneys and the bladder, and our largest organ, the skin. So liver support. So eating greens daily. Now this might be different depending on your condition, right? But for the most part, greens are so the color green in Chinese medicine supports the liver. Cruciferous veggies, right? Dark leafy greens, something called chlorophyll, also is very powerful at detoxing. Cilantro particularly helps to detox mercury. So, do heavy metal testing. Find out, do you have a toxic load of any of the heavy metals? Garlic and onions, right? They're high in sulfur, and it just pushes things out. Sprouts, foods that are full of antioxidants and fiber, the beets and apples and carrots, they also help the liver. Citrus foods, right? Putting a little lime, putting a little lemon in that warm water, you help to support the liver. Something called milk thistle tea is really good. Milk thistle supports the liver. So have a nice warm cup of that today and help yourself. Intestinal health. So doing a gut cleanse. So I'm going to talk about this quickly. I'm not really going to go into it. Water fasting really depends, right? Intermittent fasting, a lot of people love to do it. Tons of different ways to do it. Figure out what works for you, limiting the amount of calories that you're having within a certain window. Fasting for you is what people always think about with fasting, but why not put all the good stuff in to help you? That way it's sustainable and you can do it. Should you do a water fast? It depends. Doing it now, if you can't physically go see a doctor, I wouldn't start anything new right now, right? Maybe start with 1 day of a water fast. A lot of people do it for religious or spiritual reasons, and there's a lot of health benefits. But don't do it if you are pregnant, if you're feeling any kind of acute situation right now where you're not really high energy and you don't feel like your optimal self. That's not a time to deprive your body of nutrients. So experiment, do a half a day of a water fast. You know, make sure that your loved ones know you're doing it. If you live by yourself, tell your neighbor, tell someone, hey, I'm going to do a water fast for today. I've never done it before. Can you just check in with me and make sure I'm doing okay? All right, cover your bases. But drinking quality water is good. The water fasting, it really depends, okay? Definitely not something for the elderly and then really young, okay? But anyone in between, you know, just check with your doctor, make sure it's good for you. Of course, that can be part of something that you can do every once in a while. But you don't want to just do a cleanse. My point is, you don't want to just do a cleanse once a year and then be like, oh, because what happens? You do the cleanse and then you reward yourself with a huge meal or a huge bottle of wine, and then you know, you're back at square one. So the point of everything I'm saying is that you do this every day. It's daily, it's sustainable, it's a way of living, it's lifestyle changes that you can take with you for your whole life, and it's going to benefit your health in so many wonderful ways. So I can't stress enough how important this is. But if you do, you know, doing things of a cleanse, you think about working with the seasons. Fall and spring are those seasons of change. That would be a good time to work with it. Avoiding snacking. Why? Particularly with SIBO patients, you know, this can help. You know, snacking, if you don't give your body that time to digest and kind of clear out, there's a natural way that our intestines, it kind of comes in like with a sweep and just like clears out the bad bacteria. You need to give the body that rest of about 3 hours of not eating anything in between the meals to be able to do that. So if you're constantly snacking and doing these things, you're not allowing that natural way that the intestines kind of sweep through and clear out the bad guys. So let the body do what it needs to do and try to avoid the snacking, and that can help in general. Probiotics, this is the one thing I always recommend someone being on a good quality probiotic that's for you. Different kind of probiotics, different people need different probiotics. That's a common question I get. Well, what should, my husband take? And so I don't know what's going on with your husband. You know, let's see what's going on. If there's a specific probiotic that they need, good quality, tons of good bacteria, get the right combination for you. You can try the fermented foods. Some people don't love fermented foods, but I do recommend a high quality probiotic, but you can try the fermented foods. They do have those good bacteria in them as well. And prebiotics, but that's all the fiber to feed the probiotics. So really important, you can't forget the fiber. And with your body, you've got to be naturally purging the toxins out. You've got to have a daily bowel movement. Okay, you want to get these toxins out. They shouldn't be sitting around there in the intestines. Find the root cause. If you're constipated or have loose stools or diarrhea, what's going on? Your bowel movements aren't optimal. Constipated, eat more fiber, doing something called an abdominal massage, drinking more water. What's the stress load? Loose stools, is it stress related? Do we have a situation of leaky gut? Is there a parasite, candida? So many things. You know, a good stool test will give you some answers. And there's tons of natural diuretics. So think about your kidneys also. Think about something called water retention. Do you have swelling, particularly in your ankles, down in your feet? That's something called edema. There's all natural ways that you can try and support that through something called natural diuretics. You don't just have to take a water pill or take a medication for this necessarily. Try some natural ways if possible. Ask your doctor if this is the way to do it. And there's all these foods, lemon water, have some celery, some asparagus, some cucumbers, switch it up. Okay, and teas, so you can even have these teas like dandelion greens. You can even just try and eat some of those, and also some parsley tea, but making them into teas also is wonderful. So there's tons of teas that you can have. Hawthorn tea is particularly good for the kidneys as well as the heart. It's a beautiful herb. Hibiscus tea as well. So hibiscus and hawthorn, or actually hibiscus more so for the kidneys and the heart, hawthorn more for the heart there. And horsetail too. So there's tons of different teas if you're interested. So give it a try. Find out if that's something that you need. And exercise. So muscles move the lymphatic system, right? That system that's just underneath our skin. It runs all throughout our body, and those lymph nodes are in there when we're fighting infection, and they get enlarged and tender. So you want to be moving things and passing through, have these viruses and bacteria pass through the lymphatic system. How do you move the lymphatic system? With exercise. Okay, it naturally does that. Helps to move the chi, right? And you want to move the chi to have good chi. It's all connected there. So sweating helps to release these toxins. So moving, and if you're working out and not sweating, it's something to consider, and then try to get your body to sweat. You want the skin to release it. It takes the load off of the kidneys with what they have to do. Also, yoga poses, some cleansing poses to start the day. So I listed some 4 of them there. So chair, high lunge with twist, inversions, downward dog, all great ways to kind of move and get the lymphatic system moving, get you sweating. Exercise is key. I always talk about exercises for particular blood types. And I've talked about that before in other lectures. So skin health, what you put on your body, you want to be able to put in it, right? So moisturizer, so some organic coconut oil, this is some extra virgin olive oil. I convert it to a small container because extra virgin olive oil can go rancid. So what I use on my face and my body, I'll put in a little container that I, use throughout a week, and then I have to refill if I'm using that every day. But coconut oil is great too. And getting a natural toothpaste. So I've got a couple of those that I use. Getting quality, shampoos and conditioners. I love Dr. Bronner's. So this is great. He also has the soap. And does anyone have this? And you just read the label. It's got such little fun messages. It just makes you feel good to use it. And it's good quality, free of toxins. What are you using for soaps, detergents, and cleaners, right? I just love, so I've got this, quality deodorant. If anyone needs, this is a good one. This is another spray deodorant I love. So there's all quality stuff out there. Go to EWG, Environmental Working Group. I wrote .com. I think it's .org actually. Anyway, they're out there, Environmental Working Group. Look them up to look up the ingredients. They list any toxins in there. And you can look up specific brands that way and ingredients that are in what you have to see what the toxic load is. It's pretty great. So this lymphatic system that I keep talking about, what is it? So it's this network of tiny vessels that drains the lymph from the tissues into the blood and gets it out. So I'm going to talk about this dry brushing technique that's very gentle. It's a great daily habit to have in addition to exercising. But particularly if you can't exercise or if you're in pain, definitely do this dry brushing technique. And I have it all explained here so you guys can go back to it. If you're a patient of mine, I've typically given this out to you, but you want to you see those brushes there with the handle on it. If you don't have it at home, that's okay. You can use a washcloth, even just a dry washcloth. And what you want to be doing is from your extremities, using circular motions, go ever so lightly towards your heart. And then you flip your hands over, right? And then you go all the way towards your heart. Your feet, the tops of the feet, all the way up to the heart. The soles of your feet, through the back of the leg, all the way up to the heart. Your stomach to your heart, all the way down. You want to do this every day before the shower to try and get that lymphatic system drainage going. It's wonderful. And then something called coconut oil pulling. Anyone out there ever done it? It's great. It's wonderful. And what does it do? It systemically removes toxins. So our oral cavity, think about all of our membranes, very absorbent. So using this coconut oil, the fats in it helps to remove toxins out of our body by swishing it around. So you don't want to swallow it. So you take a scoop of coconut oil, and I like coconut oil because it helps to whiten the teeth. And I just prefer, you can also do sesame oil. This is an ancient Ayurvedic technique that they've been doing for a long time. I just prefer coconut oil for the whitening teeth factor, and I just think it tastes a little bit better. And you swish it with a pulling motion through your teeth. You're not gargling, you're not swallowing it or anything. Try and do it in the morning, first thing. Start for a couple minutes, work your way up to 20 minutes. Make sure you spit in the garbage can, not down any of your sinks or showers, and then just rinse off and brush your teeth. You're good to go. And then this is my document with how to do the oil pulling. And then castor oil packs. So this is another ancient way that's been around for a long time. Castor oil helps to detox the body. It's also very tonifying and strengthening, but it's really good if you put it particularly over your liver. So we have a castor oil roll-on in our office that I love to give to patients. Castor oil is very thick and viscous and it gets a little messy. The roll-on makes it much easier to use. Patients love it. So I recommend it. And it moves the lymph through the circulation, eliminates these wastes, and it decreases inflammation. It also helps the liver in metabolizing estrogen too. It improves gallbladder functioning. You have more energy, better sleep, helps to clear skin systems. Really popular. So this is my handout. And this handout has to do with the old way of just applying it, but pretty much you take the roll-on also, you put it wherever you want. You can even put it over your abdomen, wherever you feel like you're wanting the support. If you want the liver support, put it over your liver, then put an old towel, put a non-electric heat source over you, lay for like 20 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever you want. Try and do this as often as possible. Now we're kind of hanging around at home more. You have the ability to do it more. Do it. It's going to help you. Okay. You're going to feel good doing it also. So now I'm going to talk about, right, we've talked about mind, body, now spirit, all these things to do to help us spiritually. So with our vibrational level, bringing it up. So you want to step it up to feel good. So be aware of your happy bank. So make daily deposits, whether how big or small they are, do it. Negative ions, having that nature, that connection to the world. Okay. So it's really important. So things like grounding and meditating are really important. Going for walks in nature, hiking around, getting this dose of negative ions from nature help us to relax, help that parasympathetic nervous system I was talking about. And nurture yourself. So do what you want. Get in tune with your vibe. Now's the perfect time to do it. Maybe we might have time on our hands, or we're in our own home in our personal space. At least you've got the time that you used to commute to work. You have that time to yourself. Tune in with yourself. When you're vibing with yourself, and that's also going to help you vibe with other people that are on your vibrational level. And it helps that human connection. And then reflecting. So consider the problems that are in front of you. They may actually be behind you. So take the time to go back, reflect, identify the causes of what's going on to feel better, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Not gonna happen if you don't really face what's going on. Setting intentions. So think about it, say it out loud or writing down. So setting intentions is really powerful. Doing it during a meditative session is often a good time to do it when you're quiet. So you could do a meditation just simply being in silence, or you can also say, I set this intention for my happiness, or I set this intention for, the best next step for me in this life, whatever it might be, any kind of goals that you have. Checking in with yourself daily, right? So this has to do with detoxing too. You got to check in with yourself and see how you're doing, what's going on. Ask yourself questions. Is there something you want to do? Any habits keeping you distracted from something you need to do? So checking in and being honest with yourself. So all these questions to help you to reflect, and I listed them here. I won't go into them here, but you can come back to them. And let good enough be good enough. This is kind of huge, period. It's not the opposite of perfect. It's just good enough. So forest bathing, this is all about these negative ions I was talking about. And I want to take a moment to talk about it because it's so important. And the weather is beautiful now. It's the perfect time to get out. And it's an ultimate dose of relaxation. So this forest bathing is Mother's Nature. It's mood medicine at its finest. These terpenes in there. So the leaves, they have these medicinal bioactive substances in it. And the bark, the pine needles, the bushes, the moss, the mushrooms, just smelling it, seeing it, being near it, you're able to absorb these bioterpenes. And there's so many benefits: anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, neuroprotective, and it decreases cortisol. So less stress. So yes, when you work out and exercise, you're releasing the stress hormone. And also when you're out in nature, it's decreasing cortisol and you have less stress, increases your ability to focus. All things that are going to help you help to detox, and it boosts your immune system by increasing these things called natural killer cells. And forest bathing, when you're out there, it helps with grounding. So they say just walking barefoot 20 minutes a day outside on the grass helps to ground. So when you go for a hike, not saying to do it barefoot, but just being out there also helps this grounding effect too, and which can also even decrease harmful effects of these electromagnetic frequencies. If anyone's been hearing about these EMFs, are a major factor, and something to be very aware about. Some people are more affected than others, and it can be a form of toxicity, major form of toxicity. So these negative ions, sometimes people get confused, negative ions and positive ions. So negative ions, I always, attached to with nature. Positive ions, think about pollution and these EMFs. You don't want too many of them. They're in our society. We have to have it, it's part of life now, but you don't want too much of it, right? You want a lot of the good stuff, those negative ions, right? Add in the good. Lots of crystals are in my office, stones and rocks. Essential oils are a great way of connecting with nature and getting these negative ions to help you to decrease stress. And I listed a bunch there. Sulcate, plants and flowers. So I'm going to talk about now plants and flowers. Even putting a picture of nature out is going to help you. And there's a wonderful world of plants, and why they have these large surface areas to exchange gases and water in the environment. They protect us against, there's even something called sick building syndrome. And I'm sure people have experienced that or know someone, they just never feel good when they're at the office, or even in homes. This can happen. Sick building syndrome. It's a factor. These plants clean the air, so they remove up to 80% of toxins in just 24 hours. So get a nice plant for your office, for your home, for your bedroom. It decreases the levels of pollutants. So that's what these plants do. It decreases the carbon dioxide, decreases airborne dust levels, and it also balances out the humidity that's right for you, which is really cool. Plants can help increase productivity. They've done studies on it, boost creativity. It helps to reduce stress, and it even decreases noise levels. So it absorbs and reflects background noise, right? How cool. Thank you, plants. And here's a picture of one that I got from Main Street Nursery, anyone in Huntington, which I think was really beautiful. This is a snake plant, and there's a couple of varieties. So you can see that picture on the right. I got two of them, one for home, one for the office. And they're just beautiful. But ivies, ferns, mums, palms, there's a whole bunch of them. That surface area on the greens are going to give you all those benefits I was talking about. Detoxing people from your life, right? So maybe we're holding ourselves back. Maybe there's someone that's causing us stress, right? And maybe it just needs to be for a week or a short time. And it doesn't have to be drama filled. So don't be like, Dr. Dawn told me you're bad for my health. I don't want to be friends with you. That's not a good way to approach it at all. But it's okay to say no. So let's say someone wants to hang out. It's just not feeling right for you. You can just, say no. And give time for growth and maybe reconnect in the future. So nothing has to be final, right? We're all on our own path. If something is feeling stressful to you and you haven't maybe yet been able to communicate, or maybe you've tried to and it hasn't happened, maybe now's not the right time, but I'm sure in the future, maybe it can, especially if there's a lot of love there and you have a lot of connections or a lot of history, maybe there is a reason to cut the ties. There's lots to consider, but I'm just saying, how does this work for you? Something to think about, okay? Support system. And not everyone has this, not everyone wants this, but they do help with life. If you've got a healthy support system, lean on your tribe, and there's strength in asking for help. So lean on them, and because your loved ones, they really do want to help you. And it's going to help you. The reason why I say this is because when you're adding in all the good, when you're doing all this daily detox, you want the support, okay? Because if you're trying to, maybe stop a bad habit, you don't want to hang out with that friend who's always like, yeah, let's say you're trying to stop drinking and there's like, let's grab a glass of wine. And whenever you're with that friend, that's just what you guys do. You could say, listen, I'm trying to do this new workout now. And maybe they want to change too, like who knows, but just be true to yourself. Say what you want, say what's true to you, and then see how the universe provides it. It really does make a difference, and it can help. Technology free time, which is not what we're doing now, but schedule this downtime, right? It benefits the brain. It relaxes your eyes. Our eyes, we have our retina that's connected to our brain. So what we're looking at is affecting our health, affecting our mental health. And, we want to decrease that toxic load. So we want healthy eyes. We want to be looking at healthy things. We don't always want to be on the computer. That's why hikes are so great. You can be out in nature, looking at all those beautiful plants and being out there. It's great. And then I talk about all this stuff with bedtime hygiene. So if sleep is an issue for you, think about what you're doing for that 1 hour before bed. You want to be avoiding TV and phone. Why? Because this blue lights that we're looking at right now suppresses melatonin. Melatonin and cortisol work in tandem, right? Melatonin helps us to sleep. Cortisol boosts in the morning to wake us up. You want melatonin to be supported. By looking at these blue lights doesn't help. It suppresses that melatonin. So think about ways, like I've got a blue light protector on my computer here. You can put amber light on your phone. There's all different things that you can do. Read an actual book, have a cup of chamomile tea, do something like an Epsom salt bath is great. So magnesium is great at detoxing, relaxes those muscles, can alleviate any cramps as well. And that warm salt bath is going to be really good for you to help to detox. Thinking about maybe getting blackout shades, you know, are you getting the light in the morning and it's too much and it's affecting your sleep? Something to think about. Turn off the Wi-Fi. Keep your phone in airplane mode, out of the room, down the stairs, wherever it is, away from you when you're sleeping, because it's affecting that glymphatic system in our brain. You know, we're these human connections, and our brains are important, and the Wi-Fi gets in the way. If it's, you know, so give yourself that 10 hours or so of a break and you simply turn off the Wi-Fi. Really easy, simple thing to do. So then a concept of release, right? So detox is not just about, you know, what we're eating and what we're doing, but thinking about this other component of releasing. So releasing to create space for something new. So now I think people are rethinking their jobs and, oh, should I be more virtual, or do I miss being around people? You know, think about, do you want to create new space during this time? Lots of things to think about. Write down as many things that may be standing in between you and your success and happiness. You know, with detox, when you make a shift in your health and your body, there's going to be a lot of things that come up. So I'm prepping you guys with this because this is a journey that you're going to be on when you're bringing your wellness and you're feeling your optimal health and you're going through this. These are all the things that come up. So I'm giving you maybe little previews to it, if this is what's going to come up for you. So it's all good stuff to think about. And then how to test for toxins. So there's tons of them. So do specialized tests through your naturopathic doctor. So go find a naturopathic doctor through you. You know, now a lot of them are doing telehealth, which is what I'm doing now. But get a testing done. Get your heavy metals tested. See what's going on. Do you have a toxic load that's going on in your body? And you're not feeling well from it, because these toxins affect your health. And then you can flush in a healthy way, flush them out of your body and chelate them if you need to. But everything that I was telling you right now today helps you to, this daily detox really helps you in the long run in feeling better, okay? And I can't stress those plastic water bottles enough, like how detrimental they are to our health, like really, really bad, guys. Even think about Tupperware. So don't store your food in Tupperware, store it in glass containers. Start saving all your glass containers, you know, from all the food, pickle jars or whatever, you know, start saving these glass containers and get rid of the plastics. No water bottles, no Tupperware, because the food or drinks that are in these containers, they absorb the plastics. So these little microplastics, we can't even see them. We're ingesting them, and they're going into the cells and tissues of our body. And they're really affecting hormones. They're affecting our bodies. They're terrible for us in so many ways. But keep chugging on, right? So I'm all about promoting positivity. This is all about adding in the good. Life doesn't require that we be the best, only that we try our best. So you just try a few things, right? I talked about a lot of stuff here today. So add in the good to naturally weed out the bad. And then there'll be huge shifts. And that's when that real change happens, when you're able to add in these things. And it's okay to ask for help, right? There's strength in asking for help. Ask your support system. And this is also what naturopathic doctors do. So ask for help and reach out. I definitely flew through all of that. So if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them. And then this is where you guys can follow me. I'm on Instagram at drdawnnd. You can also find me on Facebook with the same /drdawnnd. You can always email me anytime at drdawn@innersourcehealth.com. So now let's get into some questions, because I know that I've had a few of them. The ones on Facebook, I saw them coming up, but I can't scroll back to them. Oh, you're welcome, Diana. So yeah, if anyone has questions, let me know. I think someone had asked about watermelon. So watermelon can be used as a food for diuretics. So I was talking about some natural diuretics, and there's tons of them there. Okay, here's some. Is it possible to, okay, so someone's asking me, is it possible to just not tolerate essential oils, or is it a sign of an underlying toxin in the body? That's a great question. I have not noticed. So it's very essential oils, they're concentrated, and they're really strong. So, but some people so Natalie, I don't know if you've tried every single essential oil under the sun and they're just you might be sensitive to them. So that you could be, so that can be really common. A lot of people, like some people are allergic to lavender. They just can't handle it. Some people just don't like bergamot. It's just not their thing. Thyme oil, they don't really care for it, but you might have to find the essential oil that's for you, or find a nice blend for you. There's so many of them. So if you like lemon or lime, yeah. So I wonder Natalie, I wonder which ones you've tried. That's often, so, but okay. So with a diffuser, you only want it on for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes and then turn it off. So if you're sitting there with the diffuser for hours, that's a little bit too long. Okay. So that's probably what's going on. But I would, try it, an essential oil, different kinds of them, and just, ever smell them. I wouldn't put them topically unless it's in a carrier oil, because if you are sensitive, I don't want you to get a rash, but just trying to smell different ones. I wouldn't do any plastic water filters, because, so someone's asking about plastic water filters. I don't ever want to put any kind of brands down, but anything that's in a plastic water filter, so there's plastic, and then your water's sitting in the plastic, so then it's absorbing the plastic, and then therein lies the problem, and then you're absorbing so even if then you pour that water that's sitting in the plastic filter into a glass bottle, it's already been sitting in that plastic filter, right? So it doesn't make sense to do that. So finding a different filter. So the Berkey filter is a stainless steel. There are other good ones out there. That's just the one that I love. CBD, if someone's asking my take on CBD. So a CBD can be used as an anti-inflammatory, also as, decreasing pain too. If that helps you to decrease stress, that's going to be a way that's going to only benefit your health. So it really depends on the person, and there's all different ways of taking CBD. You can take it orally, you can topically, you could spray, all different types. So it really depends on the person. For mold detoxing, yeah, so finding out the culprits, so where the mold is and if you have it. Obviously, if you can get away from the mold, so whether this is a work situation or a home situation, if you're renting or living in, fixing the problem. So you always want to identify where it is. Figuring out, get a dehumidifier and doing everything that you can, and then get retested to make sure that the mold's not there. And then everything that I was talking about today is going to help you to decrease the mold. So doing things to drink plenty of water, make sure that you're excreting properly, drinking some lemon water, and doing all of these things. Getting those greens into your living space to help purify the air too is really important. Yeah. Oh, Natalie. Yeah. Leave it on for hours. Yeah. So that was a really great question about the essential oils. So sometimes there's human error, right? We all do it. We're humans. So very common. So yeah. So essential oils weren't the bad guy. It was just the way that you were using it. So very common. It happens. All right. So any other questions here? And it was a pleasure being here with you guys. Okay, I think that I got through to all of them today here. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm Dr. Dawn. It's been a pleasure. If I did not get to your email, please, if I did not get to your question, shoot me an email and I'd be happy to answer it at drdawn@innersourcehealth.com. And I'll be back next week with another webinar. And it was such a pleasure being here. So thank you so much, and enjoy this beautiful day. It's beautiful here in New York. So hoping that everyone has a wonderful rest of the day and evening, and that it's nice and relaxing, and maybe have a cup of chamomile tea or a nice Epsom salt bath to end out the night. Okay. So thank you so much. And if anyone wants to reach out for a free 10-minute consult, you can do so by emailing me or reaching out, or you can call my office. My lovely office manager, Lindsay, would be happy to help. She could be reached at 631-421-1848. And I'm doing telehealth right now, and I am taking on new patients as well. So, and when this comes out, please feel free to share this information, because I think that this is all good information that can always benefit someone on their wellness journey. So thanks so much. Bye.